The difference between you and them is that they've actually achieved it and done it, and you haven't yet. That's it. And it won't be long. It won't be that far away before you do. It's just that you have to stick with it and you have to seek out the things necessary in order to achieve the levels that you want to achieve. Okay. I'm North Star America, and I thank you for being here on this channel. And this is online entrepreneurship. Entrepreneurship is a deep subject. I mean, this thing can go on for hours, but I'm not going to do that. But I want to give you a prime example into what I'm talking about as far as your way of thinking. So before I end this video, I'm a cover something. The number the I would say the number one aspect, right, of entrepreneurship is mindset. Okay. Remember, I said the number one priority, the number one thing that you have to do over all things is not waste time on things that waste time. Because in order for you to be successful, that has to be at all times your priority. So when you find yourself wasting time on things that waste time, cut it out. Stop doing it. We're going to talk about mindset. I'm going to cover mindset. And I'm tying this into my example about your way of thinking and whether or not, like how far you are away from somebody that you aspire to be like, or who you look up to that inspires you to do and be all that you can be. If you take a look at all of the videos that you have ever watched, all the books that you've ever read, all the information that you've ever consumed, all the lessons that you have ever learned, okay, in relation to business, entrepreneurship, working for someone else, if you've ever had a job or anything like that. The number one thing that you're going to find is that there is a common thread between you and the ones that you feel that are on higher levels, more advanced, and the people that you aspire to be like or are inspired by to be all that you can be to aspire higher levels. Okay. If you listen to the words that they say, a lot of times the thoughts that they're revealing, like when they talk about their mindset, their way of thinking, when they share these things with you, most of them are going to say things that you've already felt and that you've already thought. That is proof in the conclusion of what I'm saying. You have to realize that if you ever hear anybody on what you would consider to be a very high level or the highest level of levels, and they say something that is in a direct thought that you had of your own. You've never met these person, even if you have, but you don't, like you're not friends or anything like that. But they say something that is so profound. You're like, hey, I had that thought. Hey, I felt that before. Hey, I've done that before. This is my point. You're not that far away from where they're at. Okay. Because if they're thinking that and you're thinking that, the only difference is that they've actually done it and you're going to do it if you keep doing it. Okay. This right here is proof within itself because, and I'm gonna also relate this other point, is that if you ever think about it, if you've thought these things and you're acting on these thoughts, like you had this thought and you're like, okay, I'm doing this. Then all of a sudden you hear it and somebody says something, you're like, oh wow, that's amazing that they doing it too or thought that too, and they have that incorporated. That is proof to show you that you're on the right track, that you're doing the right thing. It's just a matter of time before you get there because before they got there, it was a matter of time for them too. It took time. And most of this takes 5, 10, 15, 20, 30 years in some respects. You just have to be prepared to continue to keep putting that kind of work in. Okay. And that's all it is. Like if once you engage in entrepreneurship, Just remember, if you don't know by now, and if you are involved in it on a high level, wherever you're at in the stance of your life, just remember, entrepreneurship is a self responsibility. You're responsible to yourself, but that responsibility is also tied to everything else in your life. Okay. Anything that requires support from you, and if that fails, if that doesn't function, everything else suffers. So that's why you have to not waste time on things that waste time, and always do your best to make the right decisions so that way you can move forward and succeed and achieve what you seek to achieve, because that matters. That's like a big thing. A lot of people fail to realize that when they're involved in entrepreneurship, okay? Because in my years of doing it, I'm telling you, one thing that I've learned, if I ain't learned nothing else, is this one thing, is that every time I stopped, it all stopped. I mean, it's true. Let me explain, because I said that I've had employees, and this is a real deal, not a joke. Okay, what I mean is, anytime, think of it when a business closes, when a business like actually closes its doors for like forever, like we're going out of business. When it stops, it stops. When I've stopped, it stopped. That means the money, everything stopped. So that's why, like, I think that's why I've been saying it so much about, and like, I think this is like the video number 4 that I've actually been saying. Entrepreneurship is your, I'm sorry, success is your responsibility. It's not something that I heard from somebody. It's just something that I know, and it's probably been said before. I don't think I'm the first person to ever say it, but I've never heard of anybody say this before. I just don't. I just don't think that I'm the only one who's ever realized that. That's the thing I'm getting at. But it's something that I know firsthand, because anytime that I've continued to do something, it continues to happen. And anytime that I've stopped something, it stopped. So, yes, it's a self perpetuated responsibility that doesn't belong to anyone but you.